over and over and over and over. And for W7M, they have the non-preferred side on a map they did not select, down by a score. It's time to see if FaZe Clan truly can phase up, or if W7M are about to become line 7 mid yet again. Grace, Novi, have fun with this one. We'll be back in a second.
Thank you so much, Jacob and Connor. We are into this. W7M versus FaZe Clan on Cafe. FaZe Clan's home turf. We were just at W7M's, and they had an absolute battering from FaZe Clan, even though they were wearing their away kit. Now, FaZe Clan, home turf advantage as well. Grace, it's not looking good for W7M.
It's not. Like, this is very uncomfortable. Okay, so I didn't realize it was actually FaZe starting on the defense here. I thought they were starting on the attack, so I do beg your pardon. But goodness me, this makes it 50 times harder. As I just said, you know, this defense is very hard to approach. You have to go for the gravity fall effect. 9 times out of 10, you have to take that top floor control and trickle downwards. Yes, you can go direct to bakery, but only if your util enables you to do so. Only if you're taking something very safe, something that shields util. We've already seen the Monty be banned out. Could you take an Osa? Potentially, but there's always the potential of C4s being thrown from that prep position as well. And as if by magic, we are indeed going to go down to kitchen for the opening round. So let's see what W7M do decide to do. Will they go for that top-down approach? Or will they go a bit more direct, you know, start to pressurize towards VIP, apply that pressure to bakery? I guess it depends on what they spot up from FaZe Clan, really. Will there be an extended roam here? I assume maybe there will be. It's a little inkling here.
Yeah, you've got Cyber on that Legion. You've got the Black Eyes as well. And we've seen how dynamic FaZe Clan can play. Now, as they go to kitchen and bakery, what will they be cooking up for us? W7M will be approaching with plenty of utility, Grace. You've got the Yin Candelas, the Capital, the Air Jabs. There is a huge amount, colossal amount of throwables in their pockets, and only a measly Wamai to try and negate that pressure.
But this is it again. It looks like they're going a bit more direct here, so you do need that kind of utility behind you. Flores going in first just to clear a lot of this utility on site, yeeting itself through the drone hole like this, getting rid of that shield. So again, if people are going to play towards prep angles a bit more aggressively, that's at least one line of defense taken away from them. Especially when they have the Candelas, especially when, again, you have the Firebolts on nade as well. This is going to be maybe a bit uncomfortable. Looks like Handy has wised up a little bit, so these calls will be coming through. Hey guys, there's a ruckus right now in bakery.
There's a ruckus. W7M, they be cooking. And of course, FaZe Clan does not have the Warden on lock. Usually, when we see so much of this Ying and everything, you just have to pick the Warden because of how good Ying is. Here's the swing out from Handy, though. It's actually Souls and Cyber who take the first two, but W7M getting torn asunder. Handy follows in with an impact grenade to close it out, and it's all on the lonesome W7M player holding the angle is KZ all the way through on the Flores, but too little, too late. Half the round, Grace, and more than half the players are dead.
Half the round, half the players dead indeed. FaZe really saying, if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Poor KZ now has to isolate this into a 1 versus 1, free 1 versus 1 Bonovi, and I don't think FaZe are going to give it to him. Granted, he still has to go for that diffuser, and they're going to be aware of that, so they're going to be watching that angle like a hawk. He does have flashes, though. He can send a few flashes out, even if it's just a little bit of a beta Rooney, but I don't think he's aware of Cyber Zero's position, and that could be massive if Cyber decides to get a little bit aggressive here, which it does indeed looks like he's going to do. This could be a little bit of a court out. Ooh, gets the downvote to KDS, and can it decide to go for it? Let's see what happens. This angle being held in cloak, can it take him out? Again, he does not have the diffuser still, so he's just going to have to win these engagements, I guess, Novi.
Win the engagements, separate them into separate 1 versus 1s. FaZe Clan being very disciplined. They know that he does not have the diffuser. They know that he has to move forward and push them out. This is a defender's dream. Running back into the bakery. A crossfire to finish all crossfires. You can see it here. Handy and Co, they just step out from position. Both start peeking at the same time. Great coordination from FaZe Clan when things are getting a little bit dicey.
I think this is the thing, okay, W7M, they need to go safer with it, I think. If that round's anything to go by, again, the top-down approach, it's okay to do it. Yes, maybe you're mindful of the time. Maybe you thought that having that much util would have benefited you, but what's utility and how can you use it when you're just getting your heads taken clean off? FaZe really winning their ones there, whistling down W7M before they could even get in the building, pretty much.
W7M getting annihilated so early on in the round. You could see the panic actually on the player cam. You could see all the players sort of looking around going, right, well, what do we do now? We haven't planned for this. We don't know this situation. The game plan has changed. And first round, bit of a throwaway in some regards, because this is where teams start to test each other out. Now, where we get into the meat and potatoes of it, W7M know how aggressive FaZe Clan is going to play now. How are they going to adapt to prevent FaZe Clan doing what they did in the previous round?
The main thing here as well is the fact that they've chosen to go to mining instead of reading. So again, if W7M want to go direct, they can. Is it advisable? Potentially not, given how the last round went. So in my opinion, they still need to try and get that top floor control, and that looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. You see Feelerpox potentially about to cause a ruckus, so they could start to apply this pressure to the pillars, but ideally you want the rest of the team upstairs, getting into place, clearing some of this top floor control, because even if you do go for that immediate push, that immediate collapse, there's still people upstairs who can just go for that retake, especially with some of these vertical angles.
Need to be conscious of that verti play. The buck has been removed. The sledge is still available. My eyes towards Feelerpox on that nuke, though. Double frag grenades with the verticality. Well, I say double frag grenades. There's triple frag grenades so far in W7M. And they've got the Flores to then help get rid of the rest of the utility. But that's a great opener. Now, W7M on the board. Vita King replies. So the nuke, my eyes are on him. But currently, he's going to be watching from the grave. But W7M in a good position now. FaZe Clan under pressure for the first time. This is where they might be a bit rattled. W7M will need to look to close out this round.
Precisely. W7M do have a lot of flash utility, a lot of nade utility still. So again, if they want to start using some of that to clear out some of these more difficult positions, granted they are holding the crossfires from the windows, they are able to try and get these angles together, but teamwork makes the dream work. We see a double pinch coming through, potentially to try and deal with Cyber at the top of red. For now, it doesn't really amount to nothing. It looks like they just want to get stuck in. Are they aware of the positioning here? I think they're certainly aware of KDS, but Cyber holding this tight little angle there. There we have it. Nade gets taken out.
Huge kills just then, a flurry for FaZe Clan, and as they've got the advantage, they can sit silently, wait, back off from the position and absorb all that pressure for W7M, just like the first round, make them take the first step forwards. But JV, he knows that there's a player potentially in laundry. No, he doesn't. Vita King removes him from the round, and it's all on the only sledge left in the game. OKZ, he's feeling like this is deja vu. Again, 1 versus 3. Again, having to recover it on his own. But it's a nitrous cell to remove him. Oh my lord. Deleted from play.
Goodness me, a difficult position to be in right now for W7M. But we've seen how the tides can turn very quickly, Novi. Again, maybe this is where W7M start to get that momentum under their belt. The main thing here is, I don't think they have some of the information they need. Granted, again, they're clearing a lot of the top floor then, but they didn't have the information really about the player on the top of red. They weren't aware of the second player lurking around too. These swings could be swung.
Swings could be swung. Well,
could be swung.
Of course. We like a bit of swinging hatches, swinging windows, swinging doors, what have you. We like the aggressive style. Of course, as long as it is measured, we can be quite critique or hard on teams who decide to their only course of action is to try and spawn peek, and that is it. That's their game plan. Nothing beyond that point. But not choosing the top floor, Grace. Again, going down. Ooh. At first, or second, depending on where else you're based. And that means FaZe Clan can take that top floor and hold from that position and force W7M to do that gravity take, falling all the way through the map and force them out of that top floor.
this is the thing too that is maybe slightly concerning if you are a W7M fan. Is the fact that obviously Solus isn't in play, so you still do have a lot of flexibility to use the drones, how drones are meant to be made. You've also got the Ayana. So how are they struggling so much with information game, really? Again, maybe they need to go for more pinches to deal with some of these solo lurking positions. That's why we are going to start to see W7M, they have brought the IQ out, they want to get an overview of what kind of utility they're using and working with now, but maybe we'll see more duo pushes coming through from them.
They've got to be conscious of how FaZe are playing. They've got the black eyes, they've got the vigil as well, which means there's a lot of information for FaZe, but also denial as well on the other side of that. And alongside the mute, causing the lack of drones, huge amount of pressure. KZ on that IQ is going to be instrumental. KDS with the jump up, but he's in no man's land. Surely gets taken out, and there we go. W7M, another opening kill. They managed to get the opening kill previous round, but struggled to convert. They've been given a blessing by KDS going, we said swinging out of windows, but sometimes it can be critical. Swinging out at the wrong time and getting punished for it. W7M have been given a gift by FaZe. Can they complete the round?
Here's the thing, as you say, they once again have very little information to go off. Free Dream drone is still in pocket. They've only got 2 out at the moment to give them the information they need. Nate does get a pick onto Handy though, but KZ is down, and there we go. Cyber 0 of a second just to finish him off. Souls gets traded back out. 2 versus 3. It's not bad for W7M, but again, do they have the information needed to know where these people heard? Certainly did. Gorgeous shot there. Cyber is going to fall down, and Vita King, it's all left down to him to try and clutch this out.
And Herds, after having a donut, a stinker of a game on the previous map, is now on 2 kills. Broken that streak, looking very, very comfortable, shaken off whatever was ailing him. On Clubhouse, on Cafe, looking really, really good. But FaZe, they have that time element. Vita King, though, getting swung on the stairs. That is a great headshot. Let's have a look at this. And... What? Okay, never mind. Doesn't even need to scope in. It wasn't even a particularly good shot. He just held left mouse button and just like, okay, womp womp, it's done.
Awkward. Awkward. But, W7M picking up a round. It's as I say never. Maybe look at the wind under their sails. And again, considering they once again had not really a lot of drone economy there to go off. Again, they really seem to be struggling with this the last 2 rounds, The last 2 rounds they've had towards the end, like about the 2-minute mark, they've had 1 or 2 drones. And that's been giving them all the information that they needed. Very difficult, very awkward. You have to rely on audio cues. You have to rely on... potential of people being in these very known positions is why we are going to see some of these swings, some of these pre-fires coming through. Again, FaZe the way they can retaliate to that is just by going in some slightly off positions. Speaking of slightly off, who can cap can? Candy is going on to that cap can, potentially looking to get W7M a little bit off guard if they do go for a bit of a rushed collapse at the end here.
No more blessings with the lack of Warden. Ying. One of the reasons the Ying's not being picked, instead opting for the IQ. That also negates the Echo if it was brought, but FaZe have opted not for that. He said cap can in pocket, but it does help with the black eyes, which is of course is a bonus. But Vita King is going to be key here for FaZe to just prevent all that flash pressure coming out from that Nomad for when they do that execute, and the smokes as well, and the Capital is going to be instrumental. So huge pressure on one player, but FaZe, apart from last round where things got dicey and it sort of fell by the wayside, they're still looking calm, looking comfortable. That round was off of the back of KDS jumping out the building. Can W7M win in a straight 5 versus 5?
This is it. I much prefer that W7M are going for the full map clear. And again, once they get this middle floor control, they're going to be able to use that verticality. Feelerpox can grab that hammer and smash those floorboards apart like it's a party piñata.
Smashing the floor. Seeing what candy falls out of it. Or sweets. Again, regional differences in dialect. But Feelerpox making his way down red stairs. Again, opening the floor that allows that small bakery to be covered from above for any rotations. Handy's actually going to take the fight to them on that vertical angle. but no W7M players stepping over. And there we go. The gun engagement fires off, the impact to follow through, but there's no connection on either side. Yes, a few rounds land, but no one falls, most importantly. And FaZe's Handy's going to be happy with that. He might not have gotten the kill, but he's wasted time.
Wasted time and also taken a significant amount of health off 2 of the players of W7M. So again, that's going to make it a little bit jankier for those players if they do need to take these 1v1s. Now this is where you have to once again get that information on for W7M. Potentially need to start utilizing some of those drones they have in pocket, have a little bit of a scope out, see where these players have fallen back to, especially now that you're also applying that pressure upstairs. This is where you need to start setting up what kind of execute you're willing to take here. Will you go for that freeze to hatch and white stairs drop, or no? It looks indeed like they are indeed going to go for bakery, but I think Cyber Zero is fully aware of this now, tagging up. K's a little bit, the toxic babes go out. Oh, that is dangerous business there, Novi. Again, a tickle and he will fall over.
And those toxic babes are lethal. He still just fired out the last one as well. But it is JV who is getting the ball rolling for W7M, but is it too late? 15 seconds on the clock. Now a 3 versus 3. Make that a 3 versus 2. 2 versus 2. It is equal on either side, blow for blow. But W7M, they have to get on site. They have to try and plant. Philippox, fantastic to eliminate KDS. They've now got site control, but Cyber is ready and waiting. They've got to run towards him because the diffuser's not in hands. W7M, a victim of that 6th defender once more. FaZe Clan pushing themselves ahead and continuing on their round differential, pushing it to a 3-1.
But again, that should really start to indicate to W7M, okay, we seem to do a lot better when we do take our times, when we do go for these full clears. This is where the information game again needs to come through. I think they did a lot better this time because they were going through, they were checking things. They were able to take some of those drones for a majority of the round, all the way to clear out, 2 of the main floors here. That verticality could come through. Think about how much information, again, even just for verticality gives you. Because even if you're not spotting people, it's also the lack of people that you are spotting that can sometimes give you that also important information that you need.
All that information has to be communicated, and when the last 30 seconds hits, that clock starts running down. All that communication, if everyone is talking, trying to feed all that information into the team, into the implicit coordination, something's going to get lost. You can't get everything across in that time. You've still got to be making the decisions, and if you wait too long, you get punished. But if you go too quickly, well, we saw what happened to W7M when they tried to push through in Bakery in the first half of the round. On the first round, they got annihilated. So W7M need to find that sweet spot, and they need to find it soon. At least 2 rounds need to be won by W7M, otherwise FaZe Clan is walking all over them.
100%. Before the storm now. Playing their time, getting these hatches open, using that IQ scanner just to try and get an overview where they can, see if anyone is lurking beneath them. It'll be pretty difficult for now. Nade already applying pressure to mining, though. That is a fruity one.
Dellas are flourishing. What was that? It's a trade! 1 for 1. The SMG-11 making quick work, but vice versa. W7M, this is a far quicker pace. We said you waited too long. You've got to move a bit quicker. They're doing that, certainly so. The pistol rang out for the start of the 100-meter sprint, and they're almost towards the finish line. FaZe Clan left wondering what is on earth is going on. Warden's still alive. He's still got access to those glasses, and Ying is still on the board. So there is potential for him to have that huge effect. But currently, FaZe Clan is on the back foot. W7M, plenty of time to work with, Grace.
Wondering if Vice King was going to go to a more favorable position again. Yes, creating some holes above you, not really the best thing, but you have to try and do something there, using those nades to try and catch someone off guard. But unfortunately, it makes the sight of reading a little bit harder to defend now when these guys are still upstairs. I'm wondering where this pressure is going to start coming through. Maybe red stairs. So again, if that is the case, maybe Souls can go for a swing around the corner and help with the crossfire. Now quiet before the storm is W7M just desperately trying to work out what they want to do. But again, look, no information. They're doing this all with no intel. 2 drones still in pocket. All the flank drones taken away. The swing through the window. Vita, that's a freebie. There we go. There's one. But you missed the second. The plant does come off, though. So that's at least something. And again, Souls here. Guys in tow. Oh! But no! W7M, the crossfire there, waiting patiently. And they went for the cleanup.
W7M. Okay, my hat, I do doff it towards them because I have pretty much wrote them off in this game, in this series to FaZe, and FaZe maybe stunned by that aggression so quick, so fast. And W7M, they now have a recipe that they know can work. You can see the cap can coming out to help counter that. Azami's also going to make it a bit more difficult with the keeper barriers, but FaZe now have a lot of ponder as W7M look to get that 3rd round. They've already got 2, but Grace, if they get 3-3, I am now excited. That is comeback territory for W7M.
Certainly so. I don't know, this is kind of like a bit more edging towards this idea I was thinking where, okay, maybe we might see this overtime, to be honest, Novi. Again, W7M certainly getting 2 rounds in the pocket when you're on that less favorable. Remember, 30-70 attacker to defense win rate here. So realistically, if, you know, regional statistics and regional data is anything to go by, W7M are in a very, very comfortable position right now indeed. However, of course, this was FaZe Clan's map.
Of course, and if we go to, as you said, on those statistics for the region, and both teams get 4-2, I think FaZe Clan has that edge. They're so comfortable on this map. The W7M can get it even Stevens, a 3-3. They have performed above expectations. And we saw what W7M did when they started getting better towards the latter half of their attack on Clubhouse. They then steamrolled through on that defensive side. W7M, they have the potential here to do the exact same thing and dish FaZe a bit of their own bitter medicine back out.
100%. I'm just wondering right now. And it seems to be a little bit of potential face checking going on. I'm not entirely sure though.
Just handy waiting, isn't it? It's terrifying. You can just watch him on those stairs. There we go, the black eye. So Cyber's watching from above. And that gives Handy the information to wait. But he's backed off. Cyber said there is nothing there. They've actually chosen to push into Cigar and move on through the map as they start turning their attention towards Piano. But that cam, the fact that it hasn't been removed by the IQ, is huge for FaZe in the later portion of this round. W7M need to tread careful.
Tread carefully. They are not going to do. Again, very limited information. Every time they chuck a drone out, it's just being either got rid of or caught by a mute jammer. So once again, difficult, Lemon, difficult. They need the information to go for these swings, and they just don't have it, Novi. That's going to help, though. Again, the Iana coming through. Nate does get a pick onto Cyber Zero. So at least that has paid off for them.
Cyber's positioning was perhaps the most dangerous. He went unnoticed until that Iana replicator forced him out of position. Yes, it's a trade 1-for-1, but W7M have removed a lot of the difficult plays from that top floor, but Vita King is now back down with that SMG-11 removing Nade is massive. Souls follows up with another one. JV as a response in tow, and he can start moving towards the site, but no EDDs on the floor. He's going to just face check this swing around the corner. Beautiful headshot. His teammate comes in with a sucker punch underneath. FaZe a stun. 15 seconds. Plant needs to go down for W7M, but they're nowhere close. Where's the diffuser? You've left it on the top floor, and there's no time left as they run through. They can almost go towards A, but Handy's like, no, the flashes dissuade him. Plant's about to be stuck, spraying underneath the floor. Handy's hoping for a miracle. The impacts clipping the foot, but it's not enough to convert. And W7M have somehow got the plant off as FaZe go for this retake, aggressively looking for the headshot, but it doesn't seem to be enough, Grace. He's running out of time, and there it is. W7M have gone 3 for 3.
They nearly let it slip away from them then. Nearly. Can you imagine if the position then was difficult? A little bit more close on that corridor of reading, catching them off guard as they ran from white stairs. Such an unfortunate thing there for FaZe Clan, but at least for W7M, they have come to a 3-3 split now, and once again, they will be going to that more favourable defensive side, Novi.
I feel like W7M in that last round, because they fumbled the pass, but still managed to get the touchdown in the end, right? It went completely wrong, and they somehow came out victorious. And it doesn't matter. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter how it happened. CLAP said this on the desk yesterday. The only statistic that matters is those two numbers at the top of the board, 3 and 3. That is the only thing that is of importance. And FaZe Clan statistically underperformed quite massively on their defense. W7M, they're going forward. They've got the momentum, the win streak going. This is their time to shine and really upset FaZe Clan.
Thinker being brought out is a curious one. Again, the Thinker combined with the Amaru highlights the potentiality of some aggression to me. Again, maybe wanting to get into Cocktail very, very fast indeed. We'll see what happens though. Could also be utilised in that kind of top corridor as well already, KDS. Looking to cause a little bit of a kerfuffle there. But again, FaZe Clan, their attacks, the reason their attacks work so well is because of their adaptability, their willingness to try something a little bit out of pocket, a little bit outside the box. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do here. Especially with that kind of util lineup. Again, they got the Capital, Firebolt, Smokes as well. It's a lot of it's going to pack, hopefully, quite a punch for them.
An interesting for W7M. Different approach to side selection. Opting for that top floor. Bar and Cocktail. Something the FaZe Clan avoided. For all of the other 3 sites. Didn't even go here once. Whether that's an advantage or not, probably not. W7 FaZe Clan is going to be very comfortable attacking into this, but it does give W7M their comfortability to know that, you know, this is a very strong site. If it doesn't work, there's plenty others to go to. How does KDS win that? He had no right on that swing in, but he gets another one. No, it's Felipox who actually replies. Handy chimes on in as well, but JV's on a tear. Here he goes. The shotgun on Amaru doing the work. But it's just a blow for blow. FaZe Clan and W7M dead even in this round. And this is where the Thinker Adrenal Surge is going to come in handy, because Handy's very damn low as he swings around the corner. Ooh. He's got to lose out on that, but no, Cyber he's the one who takes it forward. Herds in the 1v1, but the shotgun from Cyber, the hero of FaZe Clan, takes the first round on attack. FaZe, I said, might have been rattled, but rattled no longer.
That was so obnoxiously scrappy on both sides, let's be honest. Again, FaZe Clan did what I felt they might do, just kind of go for the jugular a little bit, be like, hey, we've got that Adrenal Surge, we've got the Thinker, we're gonna have to hit them hard. Granted, you know, a lot of the utility I think they were planning to use got dealt with very quickly by W7M, but goodness me, swing around the corner into that shotgun on Cyber, a very uncomfortable situation to be in. You're not really winning that engagement. It was a little bit frantic. And by the skin of their teeth, actually, FaZe are able to secure that first attack.
Amazing by FaZe Clan. You know, W7M fumbled the pass, still managed to get the win. FaZe Clan looked very chaotic, but they thrived in that chaos. W7M didn't have an answer. And that's one of the flaws with that top site, right? On any of the others, if you hold above, you can always retreat downwards. But unfortunately, you activated our trap card. It was a bait beforehand. No, we are now back into it. FaZe Clan versus W7M. No unfortunate traps. Unless there is a frost mat. And yes, there is. Nade is on it with the pog mats. Grace, we are back. And in this game, W7M looking a little bit worse for wear as they're potentially on elimination.
Potentially on elimination, but this could be quite a nice setup. Again, maybe a bit standard, maybe a little bit typical. expecting that Nade will be holding that VIP angle. Those frost mats will be lurking around some of these windows. I mean, actually, for now, it looks like Nade may have placed them more around Bakery, more around Prep. So that's at least a decent approach, though, again, especially if you do expect FaZe Clan to go a bit more direct, to go for the jugular. But realistically, I would like to see them go for a clear. But again, looking at the util, they've got the Flores for that utility clear. They still are committing to the Thermite. Will that be used on Prep? Most likely not, because there are holes in the floor at the moment, and that can be very difficult to, well, send your Thermite up against. I imagine that they are going to go for a full clear, based on the fact that they are going to bring those extra Thermite charges. Unless they decide to go for a freezer take. Again, if they get that top floor control, they can open up the hatches and apply extra dimensions to the collapse they want to do. So much utility in pocket. They have the EMPs, they have the smokes, the firebolts for Flores drones. It's a lot of kit, really.
It is a lot of kit, for sure. And no Umai, no Jaeger, none of that jazz. Also, no Valkyrie, an operator that FaZe Clan picked every single round on their defense. Instead of not opting for it, relying on the bulletproof cam really on that frost. And that's about it in terms of information. So FaZe Clan might have the freedom take these aggressive fights as they can leverage their drones towards it. The EMPs go out. You can see the Mute and the Bandit playing around, especially the Bandit JV, trying to Bandit trick that wall and remove the Thermite. Cyber's looking aggressive, using that smoke on the destruction on the ceiling is genius because he can swing round, but no, Fleetbox. Fantastic defense of the teammate, and W7M have been given a leash of life in this round.
And just for timing there, really well played by W7M just to hold onto that vertical pressure. Again, like you say, good use of the smoke bolt, but again, the swing through it. Really enabling you to just keep that bandit alive for as long as possible. Still one bandit battery left in pocket too. See a cheeky nade come through from Handy. I wonder why no one's being sent to deal with that upstairs just yet. Again, there's a lot of pressure that W7M are still maintaining by playing on this vertical, and no one's going upstairs to deal with it, Novi. They're just trying to rely on playing the verticality themselves.
And JV tags another one out. FaZe Clan getting destroyed right now. W7M, they've done wonders for them to have that breather. And he's going to try and keep FaZe Clan still within reach, but with 40 seconds and 2 players still alive, that is a tall task. It's W7M, who still have that vertical control, Grace.
They've done a really good job of trying to clear the vertical control. This is the thing, they've done a good job, but at some point the call needs to come through. Okay, maybe we do need that extra pressure. Speaking of pressure, Soul's getting tapped up even more. There we go, finally gets taken up by Philipox and Nade. Going for the swing, Handy will fall. That's W7M bringing us to even Stevens. And again, Novi, why was no one being sent upstairs? Just a little bit of an entry pick there. Granted, there were 2 holding it. But that's the thing. If you can play as a team, clear that top floor a bit more, you don't have to rely on that utility. It was really smart to try and attempt the smoke bolts for that cover. But unfortunately, the timing being a bit squiffy, you get caught off guard. The wall can't be opened. At that point, it's very, very uncomfortable for the side of FaZe.
FaZe Clan no longer in the lead. W7M showing some fight and bringing it to them. FaZe Clan now going to attack once more with a different lineup. Okay, the Fuse, we saw not particularly amazing results with it, but this is W7M's chance to apply their bar and cocktail hold or something thereabouts, but do the FaZe Clan thing and actually pick the site beneath, directly beneath, which means you can hold that top floor, prevent FaZe Clan from clearing it all the way down. However, FaZe is very comfortable with just going for those horizontal takes if you give them an open.
I think it's going to be maybe a case of getting back to the war table right now for FaZe Clan and work out, okay, maybe we do need to clear a bit easier. They are bringing the Dokkaebi out now. You can see a very fast yeet to the top by Cyber. Yeah, I think having the Dokkaebi utility, you know, we see it so much nowadays, but it really just is so impactful. You can either have the EMPs, you can have the flashes, Of course, you're able to get that audio cue as to where the enemy is as well. That's going to give you an extra line of intel. Granted, it isn't a visual one, but it's still intel nonetheless.
Well, on that visual front for intel, if FaZe Clan can get that opening kill and Handy can get to the phone, well, they're going to have way more options in their arsenal beyond just drones. Now, we saw FaZe Clan jump out of this specific window. It didn't go too well for them. But going aggressive, JV takes the first. That's Handy. No logic bombs were popped. One flash went. That is a huge, huge blow to FaZe Clan and their attack right now. And JV, it's not contested. It was just a straight 1v1, and he won out on that gunfight.
Exactly, no trade coming through just yet. Ooh, Cyber attempts him, but JV shuts down yet another member of FaZe Clan. Very uncomfortable 3 versus 5 now. Philippax is downed. Swimming around the corner from Vita King, just desperately looking for the head of KZ. The reposition. Are you aware of it? Oh no, tunnel vision, tunnel focus on that side. KZ is going to collect himself a freebie as a result. Herds get tagged up a little bit. Again, JV and Herds. A tiny, tiny bit of health now. KZ does manage to get rid of KDS. Now Souls is left. They 1 versus 5. Will this be a flawless? Yes, it will.
Let's go. Man, W7M, Grace. What is in their Weetabix? What have, we had that brief technical pause where they had to fix a couple of issues, but that has done them wonders just to calm things down. They look like a completely different team in the last 2 rounds, and FaZe Clan are thrown asunder. They have to call a tactical timeout now.
I think that's a sensible time to call it, though. Don't let it get to that match point before you call it. I think certainly, FaZe, they are aware of the issues they're having. They just need to clear a bit better here. Again, really unfortunate about the tunnel vision at times, and that's why information is so important. Maybe you do just fall back a little bit and you just let those drones do their work.
All back to fundamentals, back to the basics. FaZe is very good at playing this chaotic, aggressive style. But if it's not working and W7M have answers, there should be more in the playbook that you can fall back on. And it might be a basic strategy. It might be basic fundamentals like just relying on the droning. But it's basic and fundamental, most importantly, for a reason. Because it works. FaZe Clan looking slightly flustered, but they've taken the time out. And yesterday, W7M had a phenomenal conversion after a tactical timeout. Can FaZe Clan do the same thing here? If there's any team to absolutely blitz through on an attacking round right now on Cafe, it's going to be FaZe.
Certainly so. Our cocktail, this army most presumably will be playing in that piano area. Tail is always time at this point, especially when it comes to Cafe. This army definitely has the most favorable positions on a majority of maps, but again, the old piano setup is no longer really needed when you have the Kiva barriers lurking around. You can place them in so many different places. And it gives you that extra bit of cover, that extra bit of safety when these window repels eventually come through. As I say that, FaZe Clan, maybe they'll go for something different. They are known to go for things that are a little bit more spectacular, may I say. Again, sometimes you can just completely avoid the utility setups in Cano if you decide to take that Eastern pressure instead, but it looks like they're going El Clasico this time.
We said, go back to basics, back to the fundamentals, and that appears to be FaZe Clan's approach. They know the Black Eyes, they themselves abuse them on their defensive half. Now they've brought the IQ to try and help relieve that pressure. It's ready and waiting in the Cano window. And is now going to be very pressured in this position underneath Red Hatch just through the corridor, but AZ, most importantly on that Azami with the Kiba barriers, can, when they regenerate, keep clearing those windows and of those angles that can potentially pick out his teammate. W7M heavily relying on this crossplay. If either one falls, W7M will lose both, but there's the first Herds. Beautiful kill. The Kiba barrier completely blocks. Oh my lord, the pixel peek onto Handy, and W7M are decimating FaZe Clan right now. Where's the answer? Where's the reply?
this is exactly what I was talking about those Kiva barriers. It gives you so many nasty little pixel angles to take and whittle the attack away. Cyber very aware right now of this pressure coming through from the bottom wide, but I do believe W7M have hightailed it out of there. Souls could potentially snack themselves a freebie if they do a chase up the stairs, because who would expect that? Light King for now, though, looking to get a little bit frisky, has opened up a little bit into piano. Again, a very old school approach to this. Maybe that's what they should have gone for in the first place. Ooh, tags up herds a little bit. Are they aware, however, of the fact that KZ is still there too? No, they're not. Beautiful shot to the face. Light King falls down. Cyber, the tiniest bit of health. 10 HP, 5 HP in a dream wall, like Souls, presumably pushing up that white stairs. A very uncomfortable situation for FaZe Clan to be left in. What can they do, Novi? Well, certainly not that. Souls is going to fall down. Cyber, you will fall too, my friend. W7M, another flawless on the board.
Flawless going forward to map points. Unbelievable scenes from W7M. And now FaZe Clan, they just use their tactical timeout. There's no extra time in which they can talk about it, find out what's going wrong. Currently, W7M are in the driver's seat of this car, and FaZe Clan is along for the ride, Grace. W7M 1 round away from pushing us to Oregon.
If we do indeed end up on Oregon, that's going to be certainly an interesting one. It seems to be one that, W7M tend to avoid. I'm not really sure why. FaZe and W7M choosing it not that often. Again, it can be that nice even Stevens playing field when it comes to these final best of threes. Maybe it's this reliance on, okay, we want to have that safety net right here, right now. Certainly is going to be an interesting one again, depending on who is starting on that defensive side. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it is W7M who would be starting on the defense there. So if they win this next round and we go to Oregon, that could be very uncomfortable for FaZe indeed. Granted, they do have these strong attacks. Maybe it will be smoother on Oregon. The nature of the map, again, it can be even Stevens if you bring the right utility.
Speaking of the utility, EMP's in pocket on the gridlock, making her first appearance in the series. Track Stingers in hand, and for that bakery, well, we know how good W7M is playing. Extended sight holds and those rotations. Maybe the Track Stingers are going to prevent those late round rotations back onto the site, back onto that bottom floor. That top floor or first floor hold is really good, but W7M taking a far more passive hold, Grace. Just one player off site on white, and he's about to get spotted out by that drone. Is actually retreating back in to the back bomb site around Freezer.
This is it. I think W7M are slowly starting to read. Okay, yeah, they're going to go for a Freezer take. So at this point, FaZe Clan, maybe you change up the approach a little bit more. Time really will be the main factor here. It's, okay, do we commit to the take that we're trying to do? Do we clear this player in VIP? Do we try and get that Freezer wall open? Looks like that's indeed what they're trying to do. KZ, though, beautiful C4 there. KDS is going to fall down. So that's his gridlock utility taken away. Of course, we do hear the Track Stingers still going out, but no more of those to follow.
No more. Red ping's going out. The pop-up from the sofa is decimation by W7M. FaZe Clan using the E1D to try and ping the W7M players, but it's not enough for Handy, and it's all on the lone lion who is roaring alone on the savannah. The pings might be coming true, but the deployable shields are keeping the lion at bay. FaZe Clan will not be roaring. W7M looks to be pushing us onto another map. 3 versus 1, and Souls knows that it is a dire straits for him and his team as we are going to Oregon.
Oregon indeed. As soon as that side switch happened, W7M just looked like a completely different team. They secured themselves firmly and quickly, not willing to give FaZe any breathing space. I'm certainly excited to see what our desk has to say about that. But I mean, Novi, for FaZe, it was in their grasp there. They beat W7M on their own map pick. This was meant to be their map pick. Granted, they did start again on the more favorable side too. They should have been able